I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder what my lady would say. I wonder what.
Hello, my name is Malerie. You're watching GCTV. I'm here with the director of the Literacy Project, Colleen. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Malerie.
No problem. Can you tell me about the Literacy Project? What does the organization do?
Sure. So the Literacy Project is a nonprofit organization that works with adults and, well, actually anybody from who's 16 years or older who doesn't have a high school diploma yet to work towards getting their, what we call their high set or their GED. It's the same test. It's a high school equivalency credential. And that's what most folks at the Literacy Project are there for. But there are some folks who are there really because they want to improve their reading, their writing, or their math skills, and they aren't working towards a GED. But for the most part, folks are preparing to get ready by building those literacy skills.
What is your job in the organization?
I'm the executive director, so I work in Greenfield, but we have classrooms in Greenfield, Orange, Ware, Northampton. We have a brand new class starting in Amherst, and we have a class in East Hampton. So I oversee all of those, but I work at the Greenfield location.
How did you get this job?
I applied. I did. I applied. I've been in the position. I'm going into my third year now, and I've worked in education for my entire career, so about 35 years. And so this was a different way of going in the education field, but it's an area I really like. So,
what was your career path like prior to working at the Literacy Project?
Yeah, so I spent a very long period of time, about 18 years. I worked at Greenfield Community College here, and I worked in a couple of different roles. I worked in our career center, and then I worked in our admission office. And after I left there, then I went to work, and I worked in the world of philanthropy. So I ran specifically a scholarship program. So I was on the other side of education where I was giving students up and down the valley money to go to school. I wasn't personally doing it, but I was coordinating a program that did that. And then when I left there, I came here to the Literacy Project. So I've always been in education. I've always worked with adults and young adults, and this is just sort of a different avenue.
Who has inspired you most in your career or community work?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think perhaps the person that has inspired me the most would be my first supervisor, my first boss of my job when I first got out of my undergraduate degree, who just really believed strongly in education and really helped me to understand the power of education. So.
When you were younger, did you think this would be the job you would have?
No. I did not think that, for sure.
What advice would you give to your younger self based on what you know now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the advice that I would give myself is to remain open to all possibilities. When I finished my graduate degree, I had a very clear path in my mind about where I thought I was going to go, and I am nowhere near that now. Well, not so far away, but definitely not down that same path. And I think it would have been even better if I had said, this is what I'd like, but there are lots of other possibilities. So that's probably the advice.
What does a normal day at work look like for you?
Oh, there is no normal day at work for me. My job does change every single day, and it's based on what the organization needs. So I may be working to secure grant funding one day, and at the same time, working with our students or our staff, or I'm out in the community meeting people, or doing things just like this. So it's a variety of things every day, and every day is different.
What is your favorite part of your job?
Working with our students and our staff, but particularly our students. They inspire the current me. They're super courageous human beings.
What is the hardest part of your job?
Making sure we have enough money to run the organization. That's the hardest. When you're a nonprofit, you are constantly looking to secure funding. So to make sure that we have enough money that we can serve our students well is important to me.
Do you guys accept donations?
We do accept donations, always. You can donate, you can send us a check, you can go right to our website and do it. So lots of different ways for sure, but absolutely. We couldn't actually run the organization without the help of our community and the generosity of the donors who help us, for sure.
What skills do you think are essential for someone in your position?
I think you need to have good communication skills, and you need to have good writing skills, and definitely good organizational skills. But perhaps I think the most important in this particular position is really the ability to communicate with people well and to connect well with people. Yeah.
What keeps you motivated in this line of work?
Well, our students and their success, for certain. And I just really, really believe in the power of education and how it can really change people's lives and their families' lives and the futures of communities. And so I think holding steady to that belief and the successes I've seen throughout my career, but then also the successes of our students at the Literacy Project, that's what inspires me. That's what keeps me going every day.
How do you balance administrative responsibilities with community engagement?
The simple answer is you just do, because it's as important. Those administrative responsibilities are important, but being involved with the community and those kinds of things are equally as important. So sometimes, one has to, win out over another just because of a commitment. But generally speaking, if I can do both, I do both.
How does the Literacy Project get funding for its different programs?
Yeah, so like we just said, a good portion comes from our community, and some of the most generous ways people have. We also secure grant funding, so we have grants from the federal government, from the state government, the city, and then private grants as well. But the biggest portion of our funding is through a grant through the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Can you speak about the history of the Literacy Project and why was it formed originally?
Sure. So the Literacy Project began in 1984. We just celebrated 40 years not too long ago. And it was founded by a woman by the name of Lindy Whiten, along with Phil Rabinovich and Jim Vaughn. The three of them came together because they too believed in the power of education, and they believed, particularly Lindy, I believe, was a writing specialist, and so they just really believed that education was where it was at for people to change their lives, and became really committed to teaching literacy and improving lives and communities that way.
How has the Literacy Project changed since its inception?
Yeah, so when Lindy, Phil, and Jim began, it was a very small organization located in Greenfield, and it has now expanded to many sites and to a whole online program that we have as well. So its mission has not changed. Its ability to serve the larger community has. So.
What are the biggest needs of the community around GEDs, and how does the Literacy Project address these needs?
the biggest need is for folks to get that credential so that they can either move into advanced education, whether that's they go to college or they go into some sort of training program, or they go right directly back into the world of work. But ultimately, what the need is for these folks to lift themselves from poverty and to create more financially stable lives for themselves and their families, so that they can go out and do the things that they want and need to do.
How does the Literacy Project collaborate with other community organizations or local governments?
Oh, we do a lot of that. We partner with a variety of folks because not only do we, we teach students reading, writing, math, digital literacy, but we also provide support and advising for our students, both educational advising and career advising. And so, our students, they're adults with very complex lives and oftentimes need assistance in other ways. And so we have great relationships with our community members where we can refer folks to them to get the help that they may need. And we also have a really great relationship with Mass Hire to help folks get jobs and those kinds of things.
What are some of the biggest challenges the Literacy Project faces today?
I think the number one is funding. There's always that issue of having enough funding. I think that's one challenge. I think the other challenge is, we're in a rural community. For the most part, we serve Franklin and Hampshire, but so the challenges of helping students break down the barriers like transportation, for example, to be able to go to class and finding creative ways to do that. Because even though we have online learning, that's not necessarily what some folks how they want to learn. And so that's another challenge, trying to work with our communities to find ways to bring down barriers that may be getting in the way of folks to get that education that they want.
Have the needs of the community changed in recent years? If so, how?
In terms of the work that we do, I would say that the need is the same in terms of folks wanting to come and needing to get that credential so that they can go out and do that. The overall needs of the community. So are there other things that are impacting them being able to come to the Literacy Project? Those needs have changed. For example, the increase in unhoused folks. Many of the students who come, almost all of the students who come to the Literacy Project, are living below the poverty line. And so as those services and funding for other nonprofits goes away and is a challenge, that means then that our students have those challenges as well.
What are some barriers the organization encounters when trying to help the community?
Well, I think it was just that. I think it's, again, the challenge is really finding creative ways to give students what they need to be successful. So, for example, technology is both expensive and difficult for students sometimes to get, or in a rural area, internet connection can be really difficult. And so it's a challenge for us to be able to make sure that every student has what they need in terms of technology to be able to do their work, but we do our best to do that.
How can people get involved at the Literacy Project?
Really, you just need to make an inquiry. We have a form right on our website that is for volunteers. You'll see a section on there. If you click on that and fill it out, we have a great volunteer program with a great coordinator, and they will reach out to you and work with you. So,
how can people support the Literacy Project?
Well, certainly volunteers are hugely important, and as we've talked about financially, we're grateful for every single donation that we get, and we recognize the person who who gives $10 may not think that that's a lot, but it actually is a lot, and it makes a big difference in the organization and what we can do.
What are your hopes for the future of the Literacy Project?
You know, my hope, truthfully, is that we just remain as awesome as we are now, if not more so. I think I have the real pleasure of working with an extraordinary staff who is truly committed to wanting to do the work, or truly committed to doing the work, not wanting to do the work, of helping our community get the education they need to be successful. So my hope is that we can continue to do that, we can continue to sustain that, and that we can go where the community wants and needs us to be.
Are there any new programs or initiatives on the horizon?
Well, it's not necessarily a new program, but we're really excited that this year we're able to hold an in-person class at St. Bridget's Parish in Amherst. We have a lot of Amherst students who take our online classes, but we also know that there's some folks just want to be in a classroom. They don't want to learn online. And so we've been able, it's another way in which we've collaborated with the community. St. Bridget's has been wonderful to work with, and we have a class that will be happening there this year. So,
what legacy do you hope to leave through your work at the Literacy Project?
My legacy. I guess if I think about legacy and what is it that I want to be sort of remembered for when I leave, that it would be that I did the very best I could do to help students get the education that they want.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I don't think so. You had quite a comprehensive list, so I don't really have anything else, but thank you for having me.
No problem, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
No problem. And thanks for watching GCTV. See you next time.
I wonder what my lady would. I wonder